Have you already forgotten about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ugh. Order, order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place on the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding the ceremony that day. Or a ceremony that day. After receiving the King Prosecutor's award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gann. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding a broken knife. I don't doubt it. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? There is one. I mean, if we doubt what she says, then we just go back to, okay, you know, yeah, you're right. Nope, it was Joe Dark that actually did it. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright? In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one other. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. I mean, this thing's broken. Let's go with that. If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must be all very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. But may I remind you that the fate of Miss Elena Sky hangs in the balance. Sorry, Your Honor. Please give me another chance. The murder weapon was already broken prior. Oh, fuck off. Fuck you. It was broken. Let me guess. Let me fucking guess. Technically, you have to use this picture because it's different. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside the picture. Oh, fucking course. Is this one. This is the picture of the award ceremony. Ah. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. Shit. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the picture was not Joe Dark's. But that being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood this award. Order, order. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given a broken shield and a broken knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because the King of Prosecutor Award knife was the murder weapon. Then the murder and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. I'm telling you, once his face had this fucking thing, wherever that is, right here. Like this thing's above it. Like if it's a top down, this thing's hanging from the air. Which is why one of these things is broken off. And it hit him in the head, knocked him out. Then, what's his face? Probably just like stabbed him or something. They made up the autopsy report to make it seem like he was died by a stab wound. But I guarantee Gann had this thing hanging up. Lights went out, he ended up somehow cutting it loose. Falls on Marshall, kills him. So why there's blood on it. But the prosecutor is the only one to actually die. It's true, what's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger. This should be interesting. No, but it's definitely the fucking vase thing. You can just look at it and tell. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw a shadow. It's certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The head detective of the criminal affairs didn't even design him until last year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop, please, don't pursue this any further. Lena? What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crimes. Bitch, I don't care. I'm trying to find out who's guilty here. And that's fucking Gant. You can stop trying to cover for him any day of the week. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Emma's recollection. When I saw the man raise his knife. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then you panicked and ran and rushed toward both of them. And I think I knocked away the man with the knife. And that ended up being not Marshall. Oh, I should actually go back. I keep forgetting. I probably should fucking press all of these. And not be stupid. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to save Marshall. I think I knocked him away with the man with the knife. What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast. And I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. In a matter of just a few seconds, Miss Skye was almost killed then she witnessed a murder about to take place. A little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then what happened next? Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. No. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But the head detective of criminal affairs thought up this hideous beast, and that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I had seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's impossible is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger really? I just might know. The blue badger hadn't even dreamed up when Emma drew the picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright? In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike. This thing. The mysterious blue badger was, in fact, this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Look at it from the top. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at it from... Fuck, Jesus. Do I have to, like, change it any, like... Now? Oh, look, finally. I totally didn't just move along an axis and hope to finally get one. Oh, is this a miracle or what? God, I want to kill myself. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No, it can't be. I mean, if you put it to the other side, wherever just the handle broke off, it also makes one. You can just say, put the fucking handle there, and you can see that it makes a little shape. Whatever. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Well, very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know what we saw? This is the murder weapon. That we know that the witness saw the jar. The murder weapon. I'm going to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. Not only that, but she saw it at a very specific angle. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. On the shelf in the office of Damon Gann. But the body was found lying near Lena Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lena Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lena Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lena tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have had to been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more, are you really going to say that Emma actually killed this dude? Because that's pretty fucked. I was really going for, like, fucking conspiracy level bullshit where that thing's hanging in the sky. It falls, that's why the handle's broken on his head. And dude came in after everyone's, like, unconscious or whatever, stabs him and, you know, leaves. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf that the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah! The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had been Neil Marshall, wielding the prosecutor's award. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. That's not fun. Boo. I wanted to fucking... Okay, I really overthought that one. Holy shit. I went to like a fucking different levels of thinking. I was on that different dimensional chessboard over there. Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what is the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Neil Marshall. Really? I find that just impossible to believe. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Like, there's just no way. No! Yeah, I don't believe that. And she's unconscious. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. It's unprecedented. Thank God the case is closed, so it doesn't even matter. What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved the prosecutor's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this without evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has to have been this has been all a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, somehow. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left here. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek: the truth. no matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. I'm really leaning towards this. The problem is, they're gonna probably say like, oh, he couldn't have possibly, like, made it. Like, that. It's obvious that this cloth is from his jacket. And that's why it has her fingerprints on it. The only reason it's gonna be like, oh, this is actually like a fucking message right here. The dark red stains must be blood traces the incident 2 years ago. Only the fragments found in the chief have lines remaining on it. Yeah, the fact that there's like lines and he kept it, there's gotta be a reason for it, Lestripe. If not, it has to be the other one. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No. I really like Lena, though. She's really sweet. I'm glad that she's like, she really wants her sister to be fine. I can't believe I overthought all of this. What kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances, the murderer's name. Well, we can go here. Like, you can see the little lines. You can see the change direction there. And just logically there. Line goes here. I want to say one goes there. Back. It looks like it. But I see a line going down this way. So maybe it's just like a really fucked thing. But of course that's just gonna probably all connect, right? Yeah. That looks pretty smooth. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove his client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lena. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message the prosecutor Marshall left behind. God, that's actually a really douche thing to do. Like, I'm just saying, it's not like she did it on purpose, but he still writes her name down like that. Ugh, it's pretty brutal. Like, why not just write down Joe Dark or something? At least fucking meme it that way. Don't actually tell him that the kid did it on purpose, or did it. Come on, get the serial killer down. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Jesus. Seaworthy can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gand, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Ah, yes, Werther. Because of you. An innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. I don't like you. I wanted you to be a murderer so damn bad. Fuck. Ugh. The thing is, though, we still haven't solved the last one. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer, that's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we weren't defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. Piece of shit. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent in an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! Order! Dude, Gant wants Edgeworth down. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, nobody knows. Fuck. I really don't know now. I got fucking bent over on that last trial. Fuck. I wasn't expecting Emma to be guilty of something. Or not guilty. She didn't do it on purpose. Technically, statute of limitations, the case is closed, so it actually doesn't matter. We can't prosecute her over it. Thank God. Hopefully Lena won't kill me in the parking lot.